FIFA made a promise, not a small one, not the sort that gets tucked away somewhere in a document and allowed to fade before anyone has to answer for it. A promise made from stages directly into cameras, repeated whenever the opportunity presented itself across 4 consecutive years before a single ball had been touched at the 2026 World Cup. The promise was simple enough. Human error would no longer be the factor that decided outcomes at the most watched sporting event on Earth. Everything was in position. The whole operation had been put together. Automated offside, a match ball feeding data to a central system 500 times a second, 19 officials on duty for every single game, VAR rooms carrying specialists who could pull up 42 separate camera angles at once. FIFA stood where it always stands when it has something it wants the world to hear, and said the thing it had been working toward saying for the better part of a decade. We have removed the human element from the calls that carry the most weight. That was not true. What unfolded in the round of 16 did not look like a lie from the outside when it began. It looked like everything working the way the people who designed it had intended it to work. A ball came in from the left channel. A striker got there. His arm arrived at the ball before anything else on his body did. Every camera in that building captured it. Every angle came back with the same picture. The assistant on the far side had his flag in the air before the net had settled. The VAR room had the call logged before the referee had even started to turn around. Nothing about it was on the line. Nothing required a second read. It was exactly the type of situation the whole infrastructure had been specifically assembled to resolve in under 5 seconds. Flag up, no goal, get on with it. Then the referee walked across to the pitchside monitor and stayed there for 47 seconds. 47. A clear and obvious error, the only basis on which VAR protocol authorizes a reversal, gets confirmed in 4 seconds. 5 if you are being careful about it. 47 seconds is not someone who knows what they are looking at. 47 seconds is someone trying to land on something they have not found yet. And what FIFA's own written protocol has to say about that situation is not open to interpretation. When the certainty is not there, the call that was made on the pitch stands. The flag was up, no goal. That was the call made on the pitch. The referee walked back, pointed to the center spot. Goal given. What followed was the specific kind of stillness that comes down over a stadium when something has happened that everyone sitting inside it knows is wrong, and the people who could act on that are not going to. The VAR team put out no statement. FIFA put out no statement. The manager of the side that had been on the wrong end of it came onto the pitch and was shown a red card before he had got through his first sentence. The match went on. The goal stayed on the board. And a country that had not been scheduled to go home went home. Here is the full text of what FIFA released when the journalists asked what had happened. 3 sentences. The referee had viewed the footage. He was comfortable with the decision he had reached. End of statement. 3 sentences for a call that sent a nation out of the World Cup. 3 sentences for a decision that transferred hundreds of millions of dollars between 2 football federations in the time it took the match to finish. 3 sentences and the subject was over. That is the part of this that weighs more than the goal does. FIFA spent 4 years putting together a system that it told the world existed for one reason: to stop individual human judgment from being the thing that settles the moments in football that matter most. And at the moment in that part of the draw that mattered most, one person stood in front of a screen for 47 seconds and made the whole system irrelevant. The technology had the answer sitting in front of it. The assistant had the answer. The written protocol the one FIFA wrote had the answer. None of it made any difference to what came next. Because the system FIFA put together was never genuinely aimed at getting rid of human error. It was aimed at putting enough around human decisions that those decisions would look as though something more dependable than a person had been involved in producing them. The monitor, the screen, the 42 feeds, the data, none of it there to take over from what the referee concluded. All of it there to make what the referee concluded look like it had been run through something objective before it landed. And on that day, that setup was used to let something stand that the rules of the competition say cannot stand. The biggest lie of the 2026 World Cup was not a bad call in a football match. Bad calls in football matches have been there since the beginning. They will be there when every piece of current technology has been replaced by whatever comes after it. The biggest lie was what came before the call. The guarantee that the period in which one person's judgment could walk into a stadium and change the outcome of the most important matches in the world was finished. That the system had outgrown any single person working inside it. That the margin for human error at a World Cup had been closed off by design. It had not been closed off. It had been given a more impressive-looking set of surroundings. A bigger screen to stand in front of. A procedure that looked like it had more steps in it than the one it was replacing. And when that procedure produced a goal that FIFA's own rulebook says should not have been given, 3 sentences was the complete response the sport received. Not because the people responsible for this tournament had no idea what had happened inside it, but because there are results in football that are far easier to manage when nobody is required to attach a proper explanation to them. The lie was never really sitting inside the VAR technology. It was sitting in the question of whether the people who run this sport at the level where decisions actually get made are prepared to answer for what happens inside it. And the honest answer to that question has not changed at all since before the first VAR camera was ever switched on. If you think that goal had no right to stand, put it below in the comments. And subscribe. Because the promises in football that end up meaning nothing are always the ones that deserve the closest look. New video every single day.